Hey everyone, Luca here. This is kind of a bizarre installment of The Way It Is. I've been away this week, and so that's why it didn't come out. The podcast didn't come out yesterday. I was in Halifax celebrating my son's graduation from electrical engineering. And I was going to do one from there, and I almost did. And then it's been one of those weeks, and actually one of those months where I've had a lot of thoughts going through my brain in terms of what's happening in the world, what's happening here in our community, what's happening with the election, and a lot of things that I don't know. One minute to the next, I feel I want to yell, I want to scream, and then the next, I'm not sure whether I should laugh or cry. And not to sound too melodramatic or anything like that, but so yeah, it was one of those weeks where, I don't know if the inspiration was there, and we didn't have a guest lined up. And so I'm giving you this quick sort of, rant, podcast, commentary, if you will. Call it what you like. You can stop watching if you like at this point in time. Let's start with the headline. The PC government got elected last night in a landslide majority. I don't know if anyone was truly surprised by that. And again, as much as I've had some allegiances to parties over the years, I would have to say, and this isn't taken with any bias, I would say last night's election, or this election, was wasn't so much an endorsement of Doug Ford and his politics as it was simply the fact that there just wasn't an alternative that was worth changing for. And with all due respect to the other leaders and the other parties, no one just was really doing or saying anything that was worth making a change over. And rightly so, they did what they had to do, and it's time for those two parties to I guess figure themselves out and rebuild themselves. Because of course the other thing too is I think the total vote, or the participation in the vote, was quite low as well. So, and people got lots of things to worry about. Interest rates. Ted Macklin raised the Bank of Canada interest rate by another 0.5 point on Wednesday. Retail side, they're following suit. I don't have what a 5-year fixed rate is at my fingertips right now, but I got to guess it's over 5% now, depending. So, and I would think a variable is hovering around, 3.7, and then depending if you have a discount, it might be less than that. So rates are going up. So what I guess what I took from, and I'm going to jump all over the place, so I apologize and I beg your indulgence. What I took from my son's graduation, which, it's always interesting to see a room full of bright-eyed and wondrous, young people, I guess. They're adults. Josh is 25 now. And it's always interesting to hear the speakers and some of the comments that they make. And there was only one speaker that I thought said things that were at least worth holding on to. And he was a very successful engineer grad, an older gentleman that had gone on to great success in different corporations and things like that. And, he said some key things to that graduating class about thinking like an engineer, continue to think like an engineer, staying curious, communicate. And part of the reason that struck home for me, and I hope these young adults heard him and held on to those points, is because we're in a world right now that is really struggling, and I'm struggling with it. And it's this sense of entitlement that exists or pervades in our society, and all different levels. But I hate to say it, but predominantly in the younger generation. And entitlement, and I have it up here because one of the definitions, or one of the key definitions, is the belief that one is inherently deserving of privileges or special treatment. I have to say, as I wander through the world and you hear the sound bites, and I heard a news clip last week that people in Toronto, and I heard that was happening in Halifax as well. I met with some folks about real estate. And that now these buyers that bought homes got into the market and now that the market is shifting, because we've talked about that, don't want to close on their properties now because they feel that they've overpaid and that they shouldn't have to close on their properties. So, let me understand this. You were whining because you couldn't get into the market. You got into the market. Now you're whining and you want to get out of the market. So at what point in time do people not just take accountability for who they are and what they do? And when did the world become a place that gave people had to give people their livelihood or be beholden for it? When you come out of the womb and the doctor slaps you on the ass and you start crying, I think pretty much the only thing you're entitled to there is the love and care of those that brought you in or those that take you in. But other than that, you got to make your way in this world, and you got to work for what you get. And I don't mean to sound like that old cadre guy again that walked uphill to school both ways. But at what point in time, owning a home isn't an inalienable right in this country or any country. Having a place to live, yeah, I can see how that would be, but that doesn't mean that it means home ownership. It means that do we need to help those that are less fortunate and can't take care of themselves? 100%. But do we need to do it through subsidization or through empowerment? And there's a difference there. And I say those two words because there's a distinction. I'm not saying we don't need to support these people, but we need to support them in a way that empowers them to be able to get onto their own feet, those that can anyway. The fact that we just are sitting back and that people think that they're just deserving of checks and of things that they really have no entitlement to whatsoever. You walk around, look around the world and see what's going on in the countries. Ukraine, of course, top of mind. If anybody's complaining here today, go change places with someone in the Ukraine. See how you feel about that. See how you feel about living in a subway for the last 100 days, or living underground or not having water, or drinking water for 30 years. Let's understand what entitlement and privilege means, people. All right. And let's understand what accountability means. It means showing up. It means showing up and doing what you're supposed to do. The fact that people think that they have to rely on other people's choices or other people's decisions to better their lives or make their position in life better is incredulous to me, truly incredulous. And I say that because I come from a perspective of seeing how two people built what they had out of nothing. Absolutely nothing. And did I live a privileged life? 100% I did. The fact that I never had to worry about food, never had to worry about clothing, never had to worry about going to school, how I was going to get there, anything like that. And yet I came from a fairly modest, humble beginning. So, yeah, and that's where I'm going all over the place. And that's those are the kinds of the things that I've been struggling with today is just this. The world that we live in and the sound bites that are coming out of it just are really, really starting to piss me off. They really are. Can we just not wake up, look in the mirror and say, what am I going to do today to make my life better and make the world better? And you know what? Let's not even get to the big high level, make the world better, because we don't need to hold hands and sing kumbaya or whatever and be best of friends. But you know what? If you move through the world and do what you're supposed to do, or at least do what you think you're supposed to do and do it to the best of your abilities, don't disadvantage anybody while you're doing it. Don't step on someone's back to get ahead. But you know what? Do it with some integrity, do it with a sense of pride, do it with a sense of accomplishment, and do it with a sense of accountability. But yeah, and maybe then people will start paying attention and start understanding what it means to, help each other out as we move through this life. Anyway. Sorry to wax philosophical, sorry to get kind of all over the map, but it's one of those things where I like I said, I've just a lot of thoughts going through my brain these days. I kind of felt like I just needed to regurgitate them out. Thank you for listening. Thank you for indulging. I do think we're going to have a guest next week. I hope so, because I'm sure you don't want to hear me ramble like this again. And thank you for your support. Thank you for listening. Those that do, I appreciate the likes. I appreciate the support. So anyway, take care of yourselves. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week.